Hey guys, making this recording for my TED 626 course, so this is my week 2. And this presentation was going to be on cyberbullying. And when I first thought about cyberbullying, I was like, we've heard so much about it. We grew up with it, at least my generation. So I'm 29. I graduated in 2009 from high school. So this is something I've grown up with, hearing about cyberbullying. And one of the important things about understanding cyberbullying, I think, and the issue that we have with a lot of teachers now is that they're not staying up to date with everything that's happening in regards to social media, in regards to electronics and how things are developing and how our students are interacting and stuff. So traditional face-to-face bullying is something that we can identify and acknowledge and take care of in our classrooms because we see it, or even in the sense where we see physical things like notes, like jokes, or where we have students where they can collaborate it. And now with cyberbullying, we see it, it changes in different ways. I know one of the things I was looking at where it was talking about exclusion that I didn't even think about, but if our students don't have access to, let's say, a phone or an iPad or some way to get on social media, they then become excluded from the pack of most of our students which do have those. So because they don't have access to them, that might even have them be bullied more. As I was looking and doing more research on it, we have our traditional where it's bullying online through Messenger, through different social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, and stuff, mean comments or stuff. But then you also have to take into account when we're thinking about students who are getting bullied, where their accounts might be hacked, where people start posting things on their accounts that aren't necessarily what the student is posting, but somebody gets a hold of their account. One of the other things I saw was a outing where they say negative things that have happened to so or so person and then put it out on the internet. So that's why it's called outing. Another one of the things that I saw was, talking to our kids about sending pictures and those never going away. So, it's like posting students' pictures, like private pictures online and stuff. So these are a lot of things that really impact bullying for us that's changed in education. And one of the things, I have a paper here, and it's like the effect of cyberbullying on English language learners. So this was done by somebody named Halal Pecker, and it was a really interesting study, and I'll include it in my description. So one of the things that they talked about was we see that our ELL students tend to get bullied at a higher percentage, and even more so cyberbullied. And we're, when we sit down and think, well, what's the difference between our, our students, like just regular mainstream students, and our English language learners? And one of the things that I was reading was identity. So when you're acquiring a language, that's a part of your identity. So you're already understanding that, you're learning a second language, you're developing these skills, and now you're having the issue of having to assimilate or to become a part of a new culture. And a lot of students grow their identity from this. So one of the things I noticed that they talked about in the study was one of the negative adverse effects was that students that got bullied, English language students that were getting bullied, English language learners, their issue was that they would kind of regress, and then we see where they're not developing their second language skills or acquiring the English skills that we hope them to acquire. So because they're being bullied, we see them now withdrawing and reverting away from what they're trying to learn because they don't want to identify with this culture after they see the way they're being treated. One of the other things that was really crazy that I was reading about was that also with these English language learner students, we tend to see them revert completely, and then in a sense they become nationalistic where they they really identify with themselves as the country of origin as opposed to wanting to be a part of the country that they're currently living in. And this is terrible because, especially in my population, I work in East LA and I work for the Montebello Unified School District. 98% of our students are considered Hispanic, and I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, about 50% of them are immigrants, and that same 40-50% we're looking at they're English language learners. So for our students that are coming here, it just is an issue, and I know that this is an issue across the country because we have students coming from everywhere. On the north side of our district, we see a big influx of Chinese, Vietnamese, and South Korean. So this is another thing where, these students are having these issues about getting bullied and about being made fun of and stuff. So it's an ongoing issue that we need to address, and especially with our English language learners, because we want to know, how are they consuming media? What are the things that they're taking in? And how is this impacting them as students? And, this also plays into our whole thing where we want to try and change the idea of bullying, because this is what's going to stunt students' growth. They're not going to want to participate. They're not going to want to be involved. And once that happens, they're not going to be able to learn. So as teachers, we want to stay up on our bullying. We want to understand that we want to be as culturally relevant as we can be for our students' sake. We want to know as much as we can about social media and how students are using it so that we can identify these issues with cyberbullying and things that we may not see. And then, look at our populations that are at risk. So, like our English language learner students, where this can negatively impact their learning and their ability to function as students. So going forward, just always be vigilant, always kind of be on, in the know, ask students what they're doing online, not so much be their friends and stuff online, but just so we know when students come to us and they say X, Y, and Z is happening, and it was sent through a Snapchat that disappeared 5 seconds after, and now everyone knows, and it's on their story and stuff. We need to know what these students are talking about so that we can help them and change these things. And together, if I think we look at our technology, at our social networking, that we can make a positive impact on cyberbullying and how this affects our students in our classrooms. So thanks, everybody. I hope you learned something. I'll make sure to include the research study that I saw in my description, and I hope you guys have a good one. All right, bye.